Hey, shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Shem Karadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways, Salaki, pushing this truth across four corners of the earth. Alright, try to wake up the remaining, hopefully let. This is Naaman with the DC camp, and hey, some disturbing news. This is something that sadly I can't say was unexpected, because you're dealing with the wicked, alright, the so-called white man whose biblical nationality is that of Edom, alright, the descendants of Jacob's brother Esau, alright, and they are the wicked. Malachi 1 verses 1 through 4. Alright. Yeah, let's get to it. Again, let me first do this because I'm using someone else's work to teach. And this is the Fair Use Act disclaimer. Alright. And it says, fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Of course, all of this I will be doing. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Alright? So we got that out of the way. Yeah, shit that I'm supposed, that I'm going to show you here, yes, because this has been going on for a while now. Trying to get countries to bend to their will, having them adopt customs and traditions that are not theirs. Basically being the bully on the block. The people are tired of it. Alright. Shouldn't be a surprise is what I'm about to show you and what I'm talking about. But let's go to Phil Scott's channel, African Diaspora, so-called. And this is what I'm talking about. The World Bank, again, I say this should be as no surprise. They have frozen the bank accounts of Uganda in response to that law. The anti-LGBTQ laws. Yes, they went there. Some fucked up shit. You want to starve out men, women, and children because they don't agree with your philosophy that you're trying to push. Now you got to ask yourself, why didn't they go this tough a role like this on them Arab countries? Think about that. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this clip, and then we're going to get some scriptures. There's the usual, Leviticus 18 and 22, Leviticus 20 and 13, Romans 1st chapter, verses 21 on down. Alright, those are the obvious ones. Let's go and get some scriptures about why it's not good to be in the position that these countries are in, because after all, we're under the curses, right? So let's go ahead and roll this.
The World Bank has frozen out Uganda. Moving forward, Uganda will not be accessing funds, loans, not even free money from the World Bank. Reason being, Uganda passed the anti-LGBTQ law to protect their family values, family structure, and the culture and the people of Uganda. Uganda spoke through its members of parliament, but the West and the World Bank say, we like it when you speak, but not in that tone, not in that manner. And so we're going to punish you for taking a stand. And the punishment is we're going to freeze you out of funding. I want us to get into this today and just ask ourselves, what message is the World Bank sending Uganda and the rest of Africa by freezing Uganda out for making a decision against what the West wants Africa to do, which is to pass laws that are in favor of LGBTQ, even though, as African leaders have said, it goes.
So, what's all this freedom bullshit? You see how they constantly being proven to be hypocrites. The main hypocrite on the planet Earth. Freedom. Democratic elections. Democracy. It's bullshit. That's what they want you to believe, but all the while, in the background, they're scheming, all right? And especially when it comes to the continent of so-called Africa, that's so rich in resources. Now let's just face it, when it comes to what I was going to get into later, but I'll do it now. You never want to be in this position, especially to an enemy such as the one that we're under. All right, this is the history of the Israelites going back. We use the example of the book of Isaiah. All right, chapters 30 and 31. Let's go there real quick, because again, you never want to be dependent. Hold on. Or subject to your enemy. And this is the history here. It says, do not go down to Egypt. That's the heading. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Most High Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Same applies to we over here in North America. All right, you've become so dependent on your enemy, and that's not a good place to be. Even that's in the Apocrypha. Let's get that real quick. All right, this is Sirach. This is Sirach 18 and 33. Be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing. Essentially, that's what they are. Depending on the World Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the WEF, this was done intentionally. All right, this is nothing new. This is how they gain control primarily. Remember what Meyer Amschel Bauer said, Lord Rothschild, the patriarch. Give me control over a nation's money, paraphrasing, and I care not who makes the laws. Why? It's so very basic. All right? But oh, so effective. And has been for a long time. Very, very long time. Once again, Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 18 verse 33. Be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing, when thou hast nothing in thy purse. For thou shalt lie in wait for thine own life, and be talked on. Now let's explore where it says, when thou hast nothing in thy purse. Now the funny thing, or as in strange thing, when it comes to the continent of Africa, now you begin to understand why they had to get rid of Gaddafi. Because he had planned on developing a new currency based on that very fact. You got this mineral-rich continent, 54 countries. Why don't we all come together, all right, and do this thing? But who would that threaten? Exactly. The status quo. That status quo, of course, being losing rulership over this. All right. The nation of Edom calling themselves Jewish. Alright? Oh, that would have fucked them up. Let's do the next one. Sirach 40 and 28. It says, my son, lead not a beggar's life. Alright, this is not only the individual, but look at these countries that are under this tyrannical system, this monetary system, all these world banks, these, not world banks, Slovakia, these central banks, Slovakia for that, alright, that are established in different countries, alright. Look at that. That's how they roll. That's how they maintain the edge over the people. My son, lead not a beggar's life, for better is it to die than to beg. So let's go back to Isaiah 30. And, alright. Let's go to 31. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Most High, the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Most High, whose name is Yahweh. Alright? Damn shame. Continuing on with the video.
Against the people's cultural beliefs and practices. Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of our conversations. My name is Ugandan. I'm a business journalist by profession and digital content creator. I love coming out here, having conversations with you guys about, Africa, Black people, empowerment, and how we can rise up and take our rightful place at the global stage. So,
no one's black. Not everyone that's dark skinned is of the same nation. That's the thing we got to get up out of this willingness to keep calling ourselves as black. First of all, there's no one black. Alright, we're different shades of brown. Alright, brown. Okay, no one's black, no one's white for that matter. Alright, we gotta get up out of this bullshit mindset. Alright, we're doing what the oppressor intended. I've got you in this box, and you don't even care to know who you really are. Continuing on.
A very strong message was sent to Uganda. Outside of visas of some of the people being revoked, including the Speaker of Parliament, the World Bank has frozen out Uganda. And several videos have been done about this, but if you don't know, Uganda passed the anti-LGBTQ law that prohibits gay marriages and gay people having children or adopting children, and even organizations that do queer work from operating or seeking funding in Uganda. There's also a bill like that loading in Ghana. Namibia is following those footsteps. And Kenya has also, it's a very dicey situation for Kenya. Kenyans are almost like the diplomats of Africa, where they say what they say, but you cannot tie them down to what they say. When Barack Obama came to Kenya and he brought up the issue to the then President Uhuru Kenyatta, President Uhuru Kenyatta said, listen, we respect you, we respect what you do, but we also Kenyans, we're people, we have our own culture, we have our own beliefs, and so we're going to stick to what we know. When President Ruto became president and did an interview with CNN, he was asked the same thing. He said Kenya is a Christian country and Kenya is a God-fearing country, and we live and stick and adhere by that.
Yep, I remember those interviews.
He said nobody is going to infringe on another person's human rights, but also nobody is conforming towards the West points. Point blank or period. But then, here comes Uganda, and Uganda say, what is diplomacy? Pass the law. Pass it. And they're paying the price. And it's a very steep price because World Bank funding is very fundamental to the continent. World Bank is among the people that lends to Africa at, say, considerable rates. It's still high, but it's not as high as all the other guys. And so when you're freezing them out, you're saying you'll not get funds for infrastructure, you'll not get funds for healthcare, you'll not get funds for education, you'll not get funds to technically run the key services in your country. And what they are saying, not just to Uganda, but to every African country, is we own you. We own you. We own the systems in your country. We own the infrastructure. We own everything. Without us, you're nothing. So get in line, unless your people will suffer. Because, like it or not, Africa is still developing. That's why we are called the developing world. We need funds to build roads, to build hospitals, to build schools. And Africa has gotten to a place where we don't want free money. We say lend it to us. We will pay it back to you. We will, right? And so if I can't access that money, it means that there's no services for my people. It means that in the most remote areas, kids will not get an education. Healthcare will not reach the most vulnerable. It means that trade is going to break down because now you don't have money to build infrastructure. Goods cannot move. Services, people cannot move. The World Bank is saying you're going to keep staying in darkness because most of the rural electrification projects are funded by the World Bank. The World Bank is saying for the well-being of your people, stick in line, stand in line, get in line. We don't care what it costs you. Oh, your family values? We don't care. Oh, this is your cultural practice? We don't care. All we care is that you do as we say, you do as you please, and then we can loan you, not give it to you for free, no. We can loan you the money. It's double tragedy because now you don't have access to funding, and funding that you pay very heavily for. Please tell me in what world this is right. What kind of arm twisting is this? And that's my problem, that the West is always very quick with sanctions. There's no room for conversation. There's no room for dialogue. There's no room for you to have a different thought. There's no room for you to be different. There's no room for you to be you, right? We're all mini Americas, mini UKs, mini Canadas, mini, there's no room for you to be authentically who you were and pursue a different path that is not aligned to global Western agendas. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous because...
How many times have we told you this piece of shit so-called white man is the devil? She broke it down so eloquently. I love that. This is what has been going on for a very long time. All right? But a lot of people were just under that spell, all right? That illusion, all right, that was put out there. Now you're seeing him for what he really is. Isaiah 25:7. That veil is being lifted up. All right? And you're seeing him for the low-life piece of shit that he really is. But he's always been that. He's never changed. He gave the appearance, all right, of being this benevolent individual or people when they're anything but. You see? Like I said at the beginning, all these people are saying that's not our customs, that's not our traditions, that's not who we are. Oh no, you must adopt these philosophies. Get in line, as she says. Or you'll get no assistance from us. And it's telling you, effectively, they're just telling you, fuck you, we don't care if you die, but... Damn. Let's get some comments right here. It's not much long, well, I'm about 3/4 of the way. Let's get some comments, because this, man, someone says, oh, here go that black again. Have to unite and stand together. This is a spiritual war. That's true. That's something else we've tried to get people to understand. This is spiritual war. All right. You have the wicked. Again, Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. How many times do we have to say that? All right. Let's see. What else is here? All right. All right. Here comes this idiot talking about human rights violations. See, that's the thing. No, fuck them. This whole thing with this LGBTQ mafia, because that's what they are. All right. Let's see. Everybody stand and still be strong and never give in. It says, what is this? So they don't follow rules and contracts that other people are required to follow. They get to follow rules when they want. Something is up with this LGBTQ thing. This is why BRICS is a must for all African countries and the total abandonment of all Western institutions. See, they're really shooting themselves in the foot, and it's a beautiful thing, all right? The intention was always punishment for not doing as they say. Exactly. Petty and distasteful. Shame on you, World Bank. Uganda will be fine. For the most high in my country, Uganda. Wait, okay. They might go ahead and join BRICS if they haven't already. The buck-breaking campaign is in full effect. Exactly. All right. Let's see. It's time to see if they are free or slaves. Man, this is something people forgot. It says, not only that bullshit, Uganda just found that very large gold deposit. Them folks being greedy and want their gold. Exactly. Let's see the replies on that one. I had forgotten about that, really. It will only go to a few political families. Do you know anything about Africa? All right. It says this is a setup to reduce options for Africans. Maybe it should be a signal to move to BRICS, even for those who did not want to do so. Now, even though they will do that, initially this whole thing has to fall. I mean, this the world needs new management, all right? Because Yahweh Shai is coming back. So it doesn't matter. I mean, that might be a short-term strategy, something, this BRICS. Everybody's abandoning this, but still, who's at the helm? All right. Okay, because eventually everything's going digital. You're gonna understand when I mentioned the central banks, they still run all this shit. All right. So yeah, everybody's fed up with the petrodollar. Everybody's fed up with America. Okay, cool. But the overall problem is still there, and it's them folks that are in overall rulership. All right. This whole beast system needs to be brought down, people. It's not just what you see in the immediate. All right, okay, so now Uganda frees everything they want. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Wow. It says, wow, I didn't know you could do that. That is some evil stuff, another level. Exactly. Yes. Everybody's saying Uganda, I stand with you. Here's another thing to look at. Won't this just make Uganda a good place for Chinese investment? Another reason why this whole thing has to be brought down, because a lot of the times these countries in Africa, you're just trading one master for another. All right. And if it's not an Edomite, as in Russia, you see a lot of countries going Russia. then you're going to go with another enemy, and that's Moab. I'm talking about Jakes, not Hamites. All right. Yeah, that's going to be it. I'm not going to. Let's go ahead and continue with the video.
Living in a world where there are no multilateral systems creates oppression, enables oppression. Yet when people are trying to create diverse voices, you're still oppressing them. What do you want? This is almost like a warning to Africa that if you dare pass those laws, you better know where you're going to get money. And I feel bad for Ghana because the Ghanaian economy has gone through a very tumultuous period. You know, inflation has risen up to 50%. Now it's down to 40.
And that's just the thing. When I mentioned the commenter mentioned the gold, I had really forgotten about that. This could also be a strategy for them to say, well, you still have all this debt. If you want to be relieved of that, of course, then they're going to use alternative means. See, it always comes down to them getting your resources. All right, keeping you in debt. No, I don't. You know, I'm not that familiar with, you know, how the intricate details, okay, of how they might possibly do that. I'm not an economist or anything like that, but it's plain to see because we have a history here. All right, 13 trillion in. Oh my goodness. So we know the ultimate goal here. It's not that hard to see. How they'll do it, I can't answer that. All right. But regardless what it's coming down to, you've got this CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. An even greater means of control. So really the gold they're going to get it either way because you're going to have to conform. That's why in the scriptures it tells you neither your gold nor silver is going to save you. See, the scriptures always prove to be right. And we're seeing this. None of this is going to save you because they're changing up the whole monetary system. Continuing on.
Your currency lost over 60% of its value to the dollar. It went from 4 cedis to now 11 cedis. You know, inflation is crazy. Basic commodities. Food inflation in Ghana is the highest in Africa. You understand? If you look at also debt to GDP, it crossed over 70%, went over 80%. Most of the revenue that they're collecting internally is going into servicing loans, and they even had to default on interest payments last year.
Sound like Zimbabwe.
They really could not. And this is a country where the loan that they got from the IMF is what has resuscitated them back to life. So if they go ahead and pass that law, and the World Bank and the IMF and the lenders of the world say, okay, toodles, it's going to crash. I'm telling you, it's going to crash. And this is also a challenge to Africans. You need to put your own systems in place. If you want to be autonomous, if you want multilateral.
And that, going back to what I said about Gaddafi, that's what he was trying to do. That's why they had to make a move on him. You know, stupid ass Libyans, that's why I'm just going to put it out there. I was so glad to see that flood happen. Fuck Libya. And I was never a fan of Gaddafi or any of that, you know, bullshit. But I'm just telling you what was going on. He had one hell of a plan to get out from under that, you know, Federal Reserve Central Bank bullshit, you know, to help that continent. And it would have been so, I mean, That's why this whole thing has to be dealt with, because even with that, you know, you got certain countries that had their puppets in place, all right, and eventually, you know, they would have had, you know, problems there. But just the overall idea of that was such a threat to these devils. They had to get rid of Gaddafi. Now you understand why. Hopefully you do.
Systems. If you want freedom of thought, if you want to be truly African, start putting your own systems in place. First of all, financial structures. Have an African bank that you can rely on for funding. Have a strong African union. And it just can't be President Kagame standing up and President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. It has to be all the 54 of you speaking in one accord. Not a single country has come out to defend Uganda. Not a single country.
This is why, going back, why this devil has to be rooted out. It's never going to work. Job 9:24, the earth is given the earth is given to the hands of the wicked.
And that tells you a lot about the leaders that we have on the continent.
What did I just say?
That's all I had for you in this video. I want to hear what you think, because some of these things are very heartbreaking. I live in the African continent, and I know that the continent is developing very fast, but I also know that there's dire need for resources and development across the continent. If you leave the capital cities, most of the areas outside of the business districts still need resources and development. And so this games that the World Bank is playing with Uganda and sending a message across Africa is not fair, because it's at the expense of innocent people who just want to live a decent and dignified life. Let me know what you think. Comment down below.
That's all well and good. And yeah. But who are we dealing with here? The wicked. Let me see. Hopefully I don't mess this up. Hold on. Yeah, look at all this under this channel. Malawi president demands the West pay full price. All right, we just did the World Bank freeze. Burkina Faso kicks out French defense official. Look at all this going on in Africa. All right, G20 finally grants the African Union permanent status. Anti-French protests held in Niger. All right. Again, let's see, Niger again. LGBT protests held in Kenya. Uganda and South Africa. Macron says French ambassador is literally being held as hostage. No, he's not. All right, see, they're trying to start some shit. There's something, there's a lot of stuff going on there. All right, so yeah, with that, that's going to be my, I already got the comments and everything. I don't have much more. The point's been made. Yeah, you're going to starve out people because they don't want your LGBTQ, whatever else letter that they got. You don't want that. You don't want that philosophy, that way of life in your country. Because in fact, it's anti-life. That's not your customs and not your traditions. But they're trying to force it on you. Yeah. And again, you wonder why we call these people devils and the wicked, because they are. So with that, until the next video, shalom.